Y'all, the Jeannie Mai versus Jeezy divorce saga just got so messy that Jeezy might be facing some jail time over it. These two have been stuck in this mess since Jeezy filed for divorce in 2023, and it looks like Jeannie is determined to make life as difficult for Jeezy as she can. Things between Jeezy and Jeannie Mai have been spiraling for a while, but recently it hit a whole new level of dysfunction. What started off as a rocky situation quickly slid into full-blown toxic territory, and ever since then it's been one messy headline after another. But this latest development, it might be one of the most explosive yet. The police had to step in after a heated confrontation reportedly turned violent. Jeannie is now accusing Jeezy of putting hands on her after he refused to obey the court orders about their divorce settlement, and she's officially filing charges. Now everybody's asking, is Jeannie out for justice or revenge? Did things really get physical, or is she trying to punish Jeezy for leaving her? But we have to get into the details. Now Jeannie Mai is making it clear that she is not the one you want to play with. Even though her divorce from Jeezy was officially finalized last year, she's making sure that she gets every last coin that she's owed in this divorce, including a 2021 Range Rover that he was supposed to hand over to her. Well, for some reason, Jeezy has been dragging his feet out handing over the car to Jeannie. She finally got sick and tired of this and dragged him to court over it, and the judge ruled in her favor. And not only that, but the judge also ruled that he had willfully disobeyed the court agreement, even though it had been a mutual agreement between him and Jeannie. The judge even threatened to find him in contempt and throw him in jail. It looks like Jeannie is really eager to see him behind bars because she also came up with more allegations against him. She claimed that he hadn't been paying the court-ordered $4,000 in child support, refused to deposit $500,000 in a trust fund for their child as ordered by the court, and has also refused to reimburse Jeannie for rent, which comes out to $92,000. Well, Jeezy is not about to let her get away with this narrative, and he clapped back in a filing and claimed that the reason he hadn't handed over the car yet is that the DMV is slowing things down. Y'all know how government agencies can be at the DMV. He also claims that he has already deposited the $500,000 in a trust for their child, and the only reason he hasn't paid child support yet is that Jeannie hasn't sent him a valid receipt. Yeah, so these two are definitely a hot mess, and it's hard to imagine how they were ever together, because it's clear as day that they low-key hate each other. In fact, this is not the first time that there has been some drama, because their divorce has been nothing short of chaotic from the start. I mean, it's only been a couple of months since she called the police on Jeezy, claiming that his manager put hands on her. After their divorce was finalized last year, Jeannie still had a few personal belongings left at the house they lived in together, and we're talking pretty expensive stuff, let her tell it. We're talking luxury designer bags, her Emmy Award, and some other valuable stuff. The two had apparently agreed on a set date and time for Jeannie to swing by and collect her things, but when she got there, Jeezy was nowhere to be found, and to top it off, she wasn't even allowed inside. According to reports, she mentioned that Jeezy's house manager, on the orders of Jeezy, refused to grant access to her and her security team to access the garage where her items were stored. In fact, the house manager called Jeezy, who again confirmed that Jeannie and her movers were not to access her items, disregarding the court order entirely. She declared in the motion, Mai decided to call the Atlanta Police Department to the scene in order to gather a report on Jeannie's denial of access. Jeannie, as always, was the consummate professional. Other sources went on to say, when the police officer notified the house manager that a court order was being breached, the house manager had to adapt quickly and establish a new entry restriction. The house manager then enforced that anyone entering on behalf of Mai must sign a non-disclosure agreement at the direction of Jeezy. As soon as Mai gained entrance, she explained that seeing her boxes was unpleasant to behold, as they had suffered severe damage. Despite Jeezy's lawyer reportedly commending him for keeping her items safe, Mai claimed her boxes, which carried immeasurable personal value, were left in a mess. Well, Jeannie claimed that when she finally got access to her things, it was an absolute mess. She said rats had gotten in her boxes and some of her items were soaked through water, leaving them ruined. According to her lawyer, the boxes were wet, with water having soaked through the boxes, damaging personal items. There were mouse traps set in the garage, presumably set for mice that had eaten through some of the boxes. According to reports, Jeannie had been seriously considering pressing charges against Jeezy and his manager. She claimed the manager tried to physically stop her from getting her belongings, allegedly acting on Jeezy's orders. But during the scuffle, she said she ended up with bruises and a few cuts. She felt scared and unsure of how far things might go, so she called the police. And at that point, she was genuinely afraid for her safety and worried the situation could get even more violent. But that wasn't the first time she made claims about DV, because in her response to Jeezy's filing, she claimed claimed that he was horrible to her during their marriage. Jeannie came forward with some heavy accusations, claiming that during their marriage, Jeezy allegedly put his hands on her and was far from a present or responsible father to their daughter, Monaco. She also pointed to a specific incident from 2022 that she said stuck with her. According to Jeannie, things got intense one day when Jeezy allegedly asked their driver to step out of the car and then turned on her, yelling, berating her, and creating what she described as a threatening and hostile environment. According to the court documents, he hurled insults such as "you whore" and "I can't wait to divorce you when we get back." Jeannie also claimed that she was held against her will and Jeezy struck her with a closed fist across her cheekbone and eye, causing a subconjunctival hemorrhage. Now, Jeannie said that after that intense moment in the car, they actually gave therapy a shot, hoping it might help fix things. She really wanted to believe they could work through it, but according to her, nothing changed. And just a few months later, things reportedly got even worse. She claimed there was another incident, this time at the Ritz-Carlton in San Francisco, where things escalated again and it turned physical. Jeannie said that Jeezy allegedly choked her from behind as she was going up the stairs. She claimed that she was choked from behind as she was ascending the stairs and pushed down the stairs by Jeezy. She added that Jeezy allegedly proceeded to verbally assault her and calling her an FMB and repeated, "I can do so much better than you." Hotel security later intervened and provided protection to Mai after she claimed to feel unsafe. She talked about another experience where she was with Jeezy at an event, but he got mad when he couldn't find her. After the incident, Mai claims Jeezy demanded the pair leave the party. After asking the driver to leave the vehicle, Jeezy allegedly began to verbally Mai, and she attempted to exit the car twice. However, she claims Jeezy then grabbed her by the neckline of her dress, resulting in the dress being torn in multiple 2 to 3 inch scratches across her right breast due to Jeezy's fingernails. There was also another incident Jeannie brought up where she claimed Jeezy crashed a golf cart they were riding in because he was drunk, and according to her, this wasn't a one-time thing. She said he had crashed another vehicle during their marriage after drinking too much, suggesting that his alcohol use was a reoccurring problem that made an already tense situation even worse. And Jeannie also raised concerns about how Jeezy behaved around their daughter Monaco. She alleged that he put their child at risk by refusing to properly secure his firearm when she was present. Between the claims of physical altercations, reckless behavior, and what she described as unsafe parenting, Jeannie painted a weird picture of what life behind closed doors was really like. According to reports, Jeannie found the toddler with her then husband's Louis Vuitton bag with his AK-47 rifle inside at the couple's home. In the complaints, Mai stated that she requested Jeezy's guns be secured inside the house, and the rapper allegedly failed to do so. However, Jeezy wasn't having none of that. He fired back pretty quick with a statement, flat out denying everything Jeannie had said. He accused her of lying and making up stories about their marriage, saying that none of it was true. But from his point of view, the claims were completely false, and he wasn't about to sit back and let her make him look like the villain without speaking up. He made it clear that he would defend himself and set the record straight. In his statement, he said, "The allegations are not only false, but also deeply disturbing, especially coming from someone I loved. The malicious attempt to tarnish my character and disrupt my family is ridiculous." He shared, "It's disheartening to witness the manipulation and deceit at play at this time. My main concern is being an active father to our daughter as I continue to fight for our court-mandated joint custody. Rest assured the truth will prevail through the proper legal channels." But Jeezy didn't leave it as a denial because he took things a step further. He pushed back hard on one of the most serious parts of Jeannie's lawsuit, the alleged DV photos. According to Jeezy, these photos weren't evidence of any between them. Instead, he claimed that they were actually taken off of the golf cart crash, the same one Jeannie said he had caused while drunk. He argued that the injuries shown in the photos had nothing to do with them being violent towards her, and insisted they were being twisted to fit a false narrative. He shared a series of text messages, and in one, he apologized for the crash, saying, "I'm sorry, babe. Haven't forgiven myself for putting you in danger. I've been uneasy and sad about it." Jeannie then replied, "It was not intentional, it was an accident, but we do need to be more careful, especially when we're drinking, babe. I don't think you know your own strength when you drink." In another series of texts, she shared with him a picture of her swollen leg, and Jeezy wrote, "It looks swollen, and how open was your foot? It looks like it may have needed stitches, but it is healing." He also added, Have you had any other issues since, like headaches, loss of memory, or seizures? Y'all, it's kind of crazy, and I don't know who to believe. Because given how messy their divorce started, I guess we shouldn't have been that surprised how chaotic it got. Because if you've been keeping up with this situation, then you know that Jeannie was allegedly completely blindsided when those divorce papers showed up. She didn't see it coming at all. One minute everything seemed fine, and then the next, Jeezy hit her with a surprise filing. At first, everybody was riding for Jeannie. She came off as a heartbroken wife who had got completely blindsided, and honestly, it was hard not to feel for her. The way the divorce news dropped out of the nowhere had fans rushing to her defense, and Jeannie tried to fight for her marriage, and the source close to her came out to claim that Jeannie didn't want the divorce, saying Jeannie Mai is devastated that her marriage is over and wants her family unit back. The truth is, Jeannie wants her marriage to work and wants her family to be one solid unit. She is devastated that Jeezy filed for divorce. Jeannie deeply loves Jeezy and wants to work things out. She did not get married to get divorced. This was not a part of the plan. Well, this kind of tracks though, because after her first divorce, Jeannie claimed that she never wanted to get married again because she didn't want to go through another divorce ever again. The source also said, this is not how she ever imagined things would go down. Even though Jeezy has filed, Jeannie is holding out hope that he would be willing to sit down and work things out. She is hoping for a resolution and wants to remain as a united family unit. But then this whole story took a wild turn because word got out that Jeezy had been sitting on the divorce papers for months. They were already signed, sealed, and notarized, just waiting to be dropped. Meanwhile, he still showed up like everything was good, smiling for family photos and playing a loving husband and dad to Jeannie and baby Monaco. When all of this came out though, fans were genuinely shocked. Many people started wondering just how calculated Jeezy might have been from the start, especially considering how much influence he had over Jeannie's big life choices. Before he came along, Jeannie was clear about not wanting to get married again or have kids. She had her mind made up. But then Jeezy entered the picture, and suddenly everything changed. It was like he convinced her to completely rethink everything she stood for. Y'all, she made major changes in her life to build something with him, and now with how messy everything's gotten, it's not at all hard to wonder if all of that was just for nothing.
I really got to know him off of just our first date. Let me tell you about this, because we're grown, we're in our 40s, and what I think is that God somehow managed our timing so that we spent time after our long-term relationships. We both came from 10-year relationships, and we really worked on ourselves to really understand what healthy love is like. So he asked me out on a date, right? And I was like, okay,
Where
cool.
did you meet?
He's got his ways, dude. He helps me. He was
Wait, so he
but you know
seeked
what?
you
I'll
out?
tell you this. We met here on this set, but you gotta hear the story from him because what he said still knocks me away today. This is the first day we met, right? So then we went on a date.
No, it was before that.
Well, there was another, yes. So you gotta ask him, right?
But just when we thought we had a handle on all this drama, a new plot twist popped up that made everything messier. Word on the streets is that Jeezy's decision to hit Jeannie with those divorce papers out of the nowhere might not have been random at all. Rumor has it that he suspected Jeannie was getting a little too friendly with her co-host, Mario Lopez. The idea that this might have been less about ending the marriage and more about serving up some calculated revenge hit different. And suddenly, Jeannie started to look like the villain in the story and not Jeezy. It was around this time that the allegations started from Jeannie, and with her dragging him to court over the car and unpaid child support, fans are wondering if this is her way of punishing him for blindsiding her with a divorce. At this point, it's hard to choose a side because these people are messy. But I gotta know what y'all think about this. Are you Team Jeannie or Team Jeezy? Do you think that Jeannie is telling the truth, or do you think she's playing things up to get Jeezy in trouble? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and then check out this next video.